The principle of correspondence. The world as a mirror. Welcome. Being here now comes from beginning to understand the most powerful, most unsettling, and ultimately most liberating truth. The universe isn't a machine made of dead matter, but a great thought made manifest. This is the first principle, mentalism. It states quite simply, the all is mind. If this is true, then everything we perceive, every object, every relationship, every circumstance, must share the nature of this one great mind. And so, we arrive naturally at the second principle, the great bridge between the invisible cause and the visible world, the principle of correspondence. As the Kybalion puts it, as above, so below, as within, so without. This is the cosmic law of reflection. It is the universe's primary language, its way of revealing its own nature in an infinite hall of mirrors. The microcosm, the smallest part, reflects the macrocosm, the whole. And most crucially for us, right now, our inner world, the state of our own consciousness, is precisely reflected in our outer world, the state of our life. This isn't philosophy. This isn't a pretty idea to be debated. This is the functional architecture of reality. Our reality is a living mirror, and the image it holds up is a perfect picture of our dominant state of being. What does this mean? As above, so below? The ancients saw it everywhere. Look into the heavens, the macrocosm. They saw the orderly dance of planets and stars. Looking within, the microcosm of the human being, they saw a similar dance of elements, humors, and intelligences. They understood that the patterns governing the cosmos must also, in some form, govern the individual. In medieval Europe, this was the doctrine of the macrocosm and the microcosm. The Renaissance artist, painting a scene, would place a miniature model of the heavens in the corner, suggesting the connection between the grand story and the small one. The alchemist, working in his laboratory, knew that the process of transforming lead into gold was a direct parallel to the process of transforming the soul from base ego into spiritual gold. This principle insists that nothing is truly separate. Everything is interconnected in a vast web of vibrating relationship. The structure of a galaxy, a spiral nebula, is echoed in the curl of a seashell on the shore, and the spiral of DNA in our very cells. The furious, chaotic energy of a thunderstorm reflects the same energy that powers a chaotic, agitated mind. The calm, deep stillness of a mountain lake reflects the mind of an observer not lost in the storm of thought. This harmony isn't accidental. The Kybalion explains it exists because all that is included in the universe emanates from the same source, and the same laws, principles, and characteristics apply to each unit. Our mind is the mind of the all, are not two different substances. They are of the same nature. Therefore, what is true of the one must, in correspondence, be true of the other. If the great mind creates the universe through thought and imagination, as the principle of mentalism declares, then we, as localized points of this consciousness, create our personal universe in exactly the same way. Our outer world is a projection of our inner world. It is a physical, three-dimensional printout of our most dominant mental and emotional states. So, we can reframe the principle in the most direct personal terms possible, as within, in the mind, in the heart, in the silent assumptions of our being, so without, in our relationships, our health, our work, our daily experiences. Now, let's look into this mirror, not as a theory, but as a lived experience. This is where the avatar often looks and feels confusion, blame, and victimhood. It sees an ugly reflection and tries to smash the mirror, not understanding that it is holding the brush that paints the picture. Observing the patterns that play out in life, we can see the law in motion. Finding ourselves in repeated conflicts with authority figures, a boss, a parent, a government, let's look within. The principle of correspondence asks, where in us is the inner tyrant? Where is the rebellious child that feels constrained? The outer conflict is a precise match for an unresolved inner polarity. The world shows us with perfect clarity a part of our own psyche that is at war with itself. Feeling chronically overlooked, unseen, or undervalued by others? The mirror asks, where are we overlooking, ignoring, or devaluing ourselves? Where have we made ourselves small in our own inner narrative? The external experience is a faithful echo of our internal self-estimate. Does our physical environment feel chaotic, cluttered, or stagnant? The principle whispers, what thoughts have we left unresolved? What emotional energies have we allowed to stagnate within? Our home and workspaces aren't separate from us. They are an extension of our energy field, shaped by our mental habits. A disorganized desk can be a perfect reflection of a disorganized mind. These are not punishments. They are communications. The universe, in its infinite intelligence, is using the language of correspondence to show us what we believe, what we fear, and where we are not yet free. Every bad day, every frustrating interaction, every recurring problem is a loving, if sometimes uncomfortable, memo from the cosmos. Here is a thought form being energized. Would we like to keep it, or would we like to change the painting? Carl Jung, whose work was deeply influenced by this Hermetic wisdom, understood this perfectly. He saw that our personal experiences could reflect universal truth. The outer world becomes a stage where the dramas of our inner world, the archetypes of our collective unconscious, are played out for us to see and ultimately to integrate. This knowledge is useless if it leaves us feeling powerless, as if we are victims of our own subconscious. But that is the avatar's interpretation. The observer understands this as the ultimate empowerment. If our outer world is a reflection of our inner world, then we hold the palette. We are the artist. The principle of correspondence isn't a cage. It is the instruction manual for conscious creation. We have the tools, intention, awareness, and eloquence. Now, let's see how they work with this cosmic law. The first step is to see the reflection without judgment. This is the work of the observer. When a challenging pattern appears in life, a financial shortfall, a hurtful comment, a missed opportunity, we can practice awareness. Instead of reacting with blame, this always happens. We pause. We ask, what is this showing me about my inner state? We don't search for a single clever answer. We simply hold the question and observe the feelings and thoughts that arise. We are not the storm. We are the sky watching the weather pass. This act of witnessing begins to create a space between us and the pattern. It is the first act of changing the painting. From that space of awareness, we can now use intention. This isn't a desperate wish. It is a clear, calm declaration to the universe of what we choose to experience. If the reflection has shown us internal scarcity, our intention isn't, I want $1 million. That is an avatar's base ego, demand for an external object. The observer's intention, aligned with correspondence, is, I intend to know myself as a being of inherent abundance. I intend to feel the flow of prosperity in my consciousness. We set the compass for the inner state. knowing the outer reality has no choice but to correspond. This is where our artistry comes alive. Eloquence is our skill with metaphor and self-dialogue, the craft of composing the new thought. The old limiting thought might be a blunt, ugly brushstroke. I am stuck. Using the law of correspondence, we apply eloquence. We find a metaphor that embodies our new intention and feels truer to the nature of a fluid mental universe. We change I am stuck to, for example, my current experience is a deep, still pool of water. I am not stuck. I am in a state of profound reflection, gathering perfect clarity. I know that soon this stillness will give way to its natural flow, and I will move with effortless direction. Feel the difference? The first statement solidifies a false reality. The second uses the language of nature, water, reflection, flow, to describe a temporary intelligent state within a living system. It is an as within statement, and the without must begin to match. We are speaking the universe's native tongue. Sitting quietly, we close our eyes. Bring into mind a recent minor frustration, a moment where the outer world felt irritating or against us. First, with awareness. Replay the scene. Notice any tension in the body, any charged thoughts. Don't get lost in them, just note. The story of being disrespected is here. The feeling of heat in my face is present. Second, set an intention. Softly state, I intend to see the correspondence in this. I intend to understand what this mirror is trying to show me. Third, apply eloquence. Ask the scene poetically. If my life is a mirror, what is this moment a perfect reflection of? Let answers arise not as logical conclusions, but as intuitive knowings. Perhaps it's a reflection of our own impatience. Perhaps it is showing us where we are not respecting our own time. There is no wrong answer, only the practice of looking for the reflection. Finally, rest. Be the mirror itself, silent, clear, and incapable of being altered by the images that pass across its surface. This silent awareness space is the above. From here, all harmonious belows are born. We are now learning to read the world as a sacred text. The principle of correspondence turns every experience into a word, every relationship into a sentence, and our entire life into a story being told back to us by our own soul. The universe isn't random. It is in constant, intelligent conversation with us. When we feel harmony without, we know there is harmony within. When we see chaos without, we are being shown a chaos within that is ready for our loving attention and our artistic hand. We are the dreamer, the dream, and the interpreter of the dream. The mirror awaits our gaze. What will we choose to see?